Hello and welcome back to Spekd. Today, after all that wonderful Christmas dinner that we've just had, we're going to be looking at issue number 14 of Warhammer Conquest. So, as always, let's get this opened up. Oh, before I go, did you guys actually share this with your buddies like you said you would for their Christmas presents? Just in case you forgot presents, you could always send like a few playlists. I'm just saying. Let's have a look. So, we have a Mechanica Standard Grey, and we have a dry brush. It's handy having a grey colour. I know you can easily mix that with white and black, but then the consistency sometimes goes off. So it's kind of handy to actually have that grey. As for the dry brush, I've heard a lot of complaints, but hey, look, if you're just starting out and you don't have a brush set like this, having a reasonable dry brush is worth it. Now, you can get a pack, like packs of brushes from like the pound store, and you just kind of cut the tips off just to reduce them down so a little bit stiffer. That's okay. It works the same way, but you don't tend to get them as wide as this. So that's really good. Okay, but just look after it. Let's have a look. Now, this issue, I've heard one or two people complaining about the price value versus the content of what you actually get. Now, they do kind of add up the prices of these items and say you save about 21 pence or they're roundabouts. But if you're just starting out, you also get the codex for both groups of models and the rule set. So that adds about another £2 value to every single magazine. But that's not the point. I mean, everybody's getting this for their own reasons. So, you know, tell me why you're getting this, whether you're a veteran or a beginner. I'll be interested to know. I'm getting this because I'm starting up new armies. This is an easy way of doing so, for me anyway. So we have our usual contents, and this time we can already see we don't have a build section in blue because we've just got paints, and we have our brush. So we have history, how to paint the containers, information on combat. So let's have a look. So we've got a bit more history and lore. As always, nice artwork. It always helps to set the story. So, I mean, if you just read this information, you don't really have a picture of how large and how vast and how dark everything really is. But then when you have these pictures, it really shows you and puts that image in your mindset. I remember when I first encountered 40k and I was like, wow, this is just way too grimdark. I'm not into this. I can't deal with this. But then, you know, as life goes on, and a lot of dads are war gamers, I wonder why. No, but it just makes a lot of sense. It just you can start seeing like little snippets, and you can start putting it into context. So we have how the Imperium works, and we're looking at here how there's like large sacrifices made to kind of fuel the war machine, which is conquering space. And we can see here, lovely kind of diagram of where we are, human beings in space and what they're doing. We have different factions or different groups. The Custodes, I'm looking for them. Okay, they're not there, so we haven't spoken about them yet. But there's your main factions, and the ones that you've got here is the Adeptus Astartes, if you're the Space Marine player. Space and the Imperium. So that's the known conquered space with mankind has been. Void battles. Now, there's a game out there called Battlefleet Gothic. Battlefleet Gothic, actually. And I believe Ashon Guerrilla Wargaming channel has quite a few battles with that, along with his buddy Owen. You know, you'll be able to find it on Google. They're actually quite interesting. This is like on like a super massive scale, in the sense that you are controlling one of these spaceships, and these spaceships are like the sizes of cities. And we just seen how large one of those cities was. And they're fighting against other vessels, and there's boarding tactics, and there's all these teleportation. There's lots of cool stuff going on. It's very nice to see. Armored containers, how to paint them. Now, they haven't supplied all of these paints colours which are featuring just yet. My container, I've just literally hit black spray from the top. I'm going to get a sponge, dab on some silver, and dab on one or two touches of colour, so a combination of colour and rusting, like the bases that we did for the orcs. I want to use that effect on that. Now, my little one has run off with the front of the container, She said it looked like a cracker for her dolly. She knows best. Anyway, use Abaddon Black. As I said, get a cheap spray paint and paint that up. Make sure you've got well ventilated space. Go in the garden and just use that. It's really simple. Rather than use all your Abaddon Black, just doing that. Dry brushing. You could use toilet tissue here. Standard Mechanicus grade. This is where it comes in. You could also use your silver, and that's what I would use it for. Which is your lead belcher. Sorry. That container looks nice and clean. Mine's going to be dirty and grimy. Containers. Oh, that's okay. That's an alternative for the containers. But that will take quite a long time if you're using multiple layers of your Death Guard green. Again, if you've got like that spray can, just spray them all black, and that gives it an undercoat, and it's been primed. And when the model's been primed, it's ready to accept paint. Because sometimes when you find if you're doing this, all your fingerprints, the oil, stops the water-based paint from sticking to the item, and it's a right pain in the butt, just to put it nicely. When painting these sections here, always turn your brush slightly sideways, and that will make it easier just to follow the design, the embossed work there, rather than painting in between the cracks. Okay, washes. Yep, I'm glad to see they did that. You don't need to wash this. Maybe just a little gold bits. It'll work. And I think it looks like they've used null oil in that wash rather than Agrax. Either way, let's have a look. Courage and Honor. So we've got larger armies here. I like this. Oh, I might have mentioned this before, but we are getting a brand new playmat. I think it's in a few issues. So that's going to be fun. I do have a little design going on. But I'll show you guys that at some point in the future. Stay tuned. Sorry, excuse me. So morale. This is one of the key phases. Some people tend to forget. You have to remind them. Like, would you mind taking morale phase? Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, okay. This can be different. So sometimes you're busy fighting an enemy and you've eliminated maybe like 5-6 models, and they have a thing called leadership test. They roll a dice, add it to the lost models, and if it goes over the leadership score, which you see there, then the difference between the two is the amount, if it goes over that number, is the amount of remaining models that have to leave. So sometimes you don't have to wipe out the whole squad, just in case you're thinking of splitting fire or, you know, putting additional attacks in there just to remove them from the field. Now, it's not to say 1 or 2 models can't do a lot of damage, depending on what they are. Like, you know, aggressors, for example. It's worthwhile getting rid of all of those rather than, you know, shooting at a couple of intercessors. Unless the intercessors are holding objectives. But anyway, that's for later on. So we're having a look at our casualty list, rules. Okay, so we're getting more rule sheets here. So this is what I was talking about when I said that you get like a mini codex. Because if they supply all of these sheets, then you are getting the actual codex, which will give extra value to this. So yeah, for those of you that have kind of got the codexes or codices, I think I've said this before, you're not going to need this, and it can be a bit annoying, but you know what, you got to remember, when you're out and about, you could use these sheets to just take with you rather than take an old book if you have a very select squad, and that could save you some travel time. So we only got the Ultramarines there. We have another battle here, securing the deck. Okay, so we're using our containers. Now we've got one, but we will have the other ones that we made from before. So, you know, no issue there. But I like the way they're using a Blight Hauler. So, additional rules. Let's have a look here. Knowing no fear, fuel dump, and ammo. So, one explodes. Obscuration. Okay. So, this is the standard rules in 40k for these items. So, if you get to use these, it'll be very handy. Okay. Other than that, we have our next model. Our group of models. So, we have the Biologist Putrefier. And we have a cluster of models here. So, we have a couple of Hellblasters, Intercessors, and Interceptor. Alright, we enjoyed our time. I mean, as I said before, if you are collecting these, tell me what region you're collecting them. As we know, it's becoming an international thing, so you may actually now have this. You might be watching this in the future. If you can tell me if you're expanding your army, if you just want to try out a new army and this is what this is for, or if you're primarily getting this for your kill team. Either way, let me know. I'll be happy to spend that time. You can find me on Discord, Instagram, get me on my Gmail. Either way, it's all good. Happy New Year. Take care, and I'll catch you in a new one. This has been Spekd. PC out.